All right, welcome everyone. We're so glad that you could hop on the webinar tonight. I am Amber Smithson. This is my husband Jared, and we are certified Optavia coaches and so excited to both wrap up and kick off a new 66-day challenge. So that's kind of the fun thing that we thought would be just like exciting and something that you could roll into if you wanted to continue on with your healthy habits that you started several months ago. And we're also going to choose some winners tonight and give you some of the details for the 2020 Vision 60-day challenge. So I'm going to bring that up now. Okay, here we go. So it is 2020. You guys believe it?
I can, because we were just in 2019.
I know, it's still weird.
That's what comes after 2019.
It's still weird to me. My friend put up a meme and it said, like this meme if the 1980s feels like that's 20 years ago to you. And I was like, that's totally me.
Hey, good news. I don't write checks very often, like very rare, like 10 a year, but I wrote a check yesterday and I put 2020 on it.
Nicely done.
Yeah, I usually screw that up for like the first 6 months of every year.
For sure. Definitely. Okay, so are you ready for 2020? And I think every year around this time, January, a lot of people are starting to think about New Year's resolutions. They're wanting to maybe stop something or start something that's going to help them throughout the year to just like have a better year than the last year. So I wanted to open it up to you guys. I want to hear some of your New Year's resolutions. So go ahead and take yourself off mute, or you can type in the chat if you want to share. Just real quick, you don't have to give us the whole life story, but
or it doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution, but just like it may be something that you've been working on for the last couple of months, but it's a focus of yours right now that you are that you're wanting to create in your life.
Who wants to share?
Irene here. Well, we just moved from Texas to Florida, so our first goal definitely is buying our home. And yeah, we'll start with that one.
I love that. Okay, so you want to buy a home. Love it,
Correct.
Irene. Okay, who else? Okay, Kelly put in the chat, pay off debt and lose 20 pounds. Love it. Who else has something, a focus for 2020?
I want to move more. I want to be active a little bit every day.
Okay, awesome, Liz. More movement. Get up at 5 a.m., Corinne says. Okay, who else?
For me, I know like it's healthy body, healthy mind, and do better with those healthy finances. Like I know Optavia talks about that a lot, but not since I became a coach did I realize that was a possibility of all three of those working together.
I love that. So working on healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances, like seeing yourself as a whole person. I love that, Elisa. So good. Ooh, Kyrie said save money for my wedding and lose 25 pounds. Love it. Getting focused on nutrition. So
I'll
good.
share something.
Go ahead, Heidi.
So I want to do my first triathlon. I actually am training for it right now, and it's so hard because I'm a terrible swimmer. Like doggy paddling. That's me. So like the poor lady that's like coaching like 25 of us, she's like, oh dear, we've got some work there. So like it's been really eye-opening because it's been one of those things that it's very out of my comfort zone and really hard for me. So yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna do it.
That's awesome, Heidi.
Just hook a leash onto a strong swimmer.
Right?
I'm a really, really strong sinker.
Okay, yes, so good. Okay, and there's lots more in the chat. Work on healthy mentality, patience with kids. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, lose my baby weight. Love that. go diving with your husband. Okay, these are all really great things. Now, I think that a lot of times when we have the new year, and you can keep them coming in the chat too, you don't have to stop. In the new year, we tend to make these resolutions or goals, or we have this focus, and then something happens for some people. And it's sometimes called February, right? It's like you're so excited for like a few weeks and the gym's full and everybody's like buying exercise equipment on sale on Costco.com or whatever. And then like all of a sudden that treadmill becomes like the hanger for your extra clothes, or you're not quite as focused on your eating clean or your journal writing, whatever it is. So what we want to do tonight on this webinar is to help you to stay focused on your goal for the long term. And that starts with 66 days.
Yep. So the title of this is 2020 Vision, right? It's so important that we differentiate types of goals. A lot of goals that people set are these big vision goals. But there's a second kind of goal that we call process goals or micro goals. And the 66-day challenge helps us establish those micro habits that help us create the path toward our big vision goals. Because one of two things happens. If we have a big vision but no process goals to get there, what happens is it's easy for us to fall into fantasy and then catastrophe. So if we don't see the results growing toward that big vision goal, something that seems right now a little bit beyond our grasp, maybe we don't have the skills, maybe we haven't put in enough time, whatever that is keeping us back from achieving that, we start to catastrophize when we don't see those results. So it's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing to have that big vision. But there's also inherent risks if you don't also have those process goals in place.
I'll give you an example of what Jared's talking about. Let's say that you say, I want to be this healthy person, this healthy, fit, trim person who makes great food choices and loves vegetables and whatever. And then, you do really well for a week or two, and then all of a sudden it's so-and-so's birthday party, or it's, you go to a movie and the popcorn, you smell it, whatever. And all of a sudden, maybe you get off track just a little bit. And you go, oh, see, look, that is proof right there. That's proof that I can't do it. I'm not a healthy person. I stink at this. I might as well give up. You start catastrophizing, right, to Jared's point. And instead of, just really breaking it down, and that's what we're going to do on this webinar, is help you break that down and help you go through the steps.
But I want to add, there's another side of it. Some of us are really good at the process goals, but we're like, well, I'm not going to dream very big right now because you know what? I'm not sure that I can create that. So what happens for Kayla, the word for today is catastrophizing. So if we don't have a big vision, but we have process goals.
Yes, if we're like, what's the action steps? Just tell me what to do. Just tell me exactly how many ounces of fish I need to eat per day.
You know what happens? Burn out.
Yeah.
Day after day after day, if you don't have a bigger vision of what you're creating in your life, you're like, oh my gosh, another day of cooking vegetables and fish and moving more. This is awful. Right? So we need a balance between the process goals and the big vision goals.
Yes.
The process goals push us, the big vision goals pull us.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a need for both.
Okay, so we're going to help you break this down, everybody, so don't you worry. The monster voice. So the first thing we want to say is it's so important to make sure you have anchors set. And the cool thing about Optavia is this is built in. So a community. So if you're participating in this 66-day habit challenge, like actually participate, like get on the webinars, like communicate with other people doing it. If you don't have other friends or family doing this, it's not too late. Say, hey, why don't you do this with me? Create a community around you. Also, our Habits of Health system is amazing. You're going to want to get a copy of that. We are really focusing on element 3, your health coach. So someone probably invited you to this. Or if you invited friends and family, you're not a coach, connect them to the person who invited you. It's good to have that accountability. And then having specific plans. All of these work together to set your anchors. Oops, I don't know what I clicked on there. There we go. Okay, so big vision. We want to start with that. 2020 vision is the name of this. So you're going to want to really list out that desired result. What's the big vision? What do you want to create? And then where are you now? So let's take the gal who said she wanted to save money for a house. Okay, so if that is your big vision goal, then put that in your desired result. I have saved $40,000 for my down payment, or I don't know, whatever it is that you need, right? And what that entails. And then current reality, I have $8,000 in my savings account, wherever you are.
The reason that this is so important is because life happens every single day. And when we respond or react to what life is happening, we get emotional, right? And if we don't have this structural tension in place, we react based on emotion rather than acting or creating based on a structure that we've created. So, for instance, I believe that it was Irene, right, that was moving to Orlando and she wants to save this money. Well, guess what? You might go on a trip or you might see something, and I don't know, Amber and I were talking about this during December. We're both kind of emotional shoppers. Or not like all emotions, but like when we're bored, we're like, see what Amazon's got going on today, right?
I'm pretty sure that you are worse with Amazon.
I'm way worse.
Arriving.
I'm way worse. So we might have had packages arrive every single day this last week, but I don't think I ordered all of those. Maybe I did. But anyway, if you get into those places where, okay, I'm just reacting to life, you're like, oh, hey, what do I do? Maybe I spend money. And your plan is to set aside that money for that down payment for the new house in Orlando. But if you just act based on emotion and shopping or going to the mall and, oh, I'm going into my favorite store. Well, if you don't have the control to resist buying things in your favorite store, then you might consider planning out a time where you go and look for something and you're like, I am not taking my wallet with me. I'm just literally going to look.
Right. So you need to set up secondary choices. So you have your current reality, you have your desired result, and the secondary choices are going to be things that are like the action steps. It's like the daily nitty gritty, like, for example, you could set your bank account to round up and move money to your savings account. You could say, I am going to put an auto transfer to my savings account for this amount of money per month on this day when I get paid. You could, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the action steps. I don't need Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these things. Like, I'm going to choose the one. Yeah.
Right? So it's being responsible and saying, what is within my control to create the outcome that I desire?
Yeah. So this example that's on the screen is about, a lot of you talked about wanting to lose some weight. One gal said for her wedding, someone else said they wanted to lose 40 pounds, you know, all these things. So your desired desired results would be you want to be healthy, you have a specific weight, maybe you have a waist size or a dress size. You want to be specific on what it is that you are trying to create and the current reality where you're at now with those things. Secondary choices are the things you can control. Like, I'm going to eat 6 times a day. I'm going to eat breakfast, low glycemic carbs only, lean and green, 8 glasses of water. You know, these are things that you could check off of a list, but you have your big vision that supports it. And okay, this is the key right here. And this is what we're doing with the challenge. But to Jared's point, you have to start with that big vision of what you're wanting to create. Now, with those secondary choices, we want you to choose the one that is going to make the biggest difference for you with your vision. And we're going to help you set up a habit loop with it. You need a cue, a routine, and a reward. And we're going to explain this.
In the early stages, you're going to come up with 1 reward. In the later stages, you're actually going to come up with 2 rewards. Yeah, so I'm just giving you a heads up. So the cue is, the reason that we need a cue is because it's not in our regular neural network right now to engage in certain routines that are going to create a different outcome than we currently have. So,
should we do exercise as an example?
Well, here's one that happened to us a few years ago. We built a new house. Our new house is only 2 miles from our old house.
Yeah.
But it's a different freeway exit. And when we would come from the north, headed south, we're an exit earlier now than we used to be. But for like a month, we would go to the same old exit because it was part of our neural pathways to just go to that exit every single time.
It might have been 9 months for me.
It was longer for her because I drive more. But literally, my cue was if my kids were in the car, I would be like, hey, when we get to Provo and to Springville, remind me that that's our new exit. You might have to put a notification in your phone. You might have to, I mean, that's a great one, especially for the example of losing weight. If you're wanting to eat 6 times a day every 2 to 3 hours, and right now you're eating once or twice a day, this is how I was 11 years ago when I lost 50 pounds. It wasn't part of my DNA at that time, my mental DNA, to eat every 2 to 3 hours. So I had to set alarms during the day. Hey, it's been 2 hours. It's been 3 hours, whatever, to remind me to put myself in a position to where I could eat that fueling.
Yes, okay, so let's dive into this a little bit more. So you want that cue. So let's take exercise, for example. Maybe at night, you're going to set out your shoes by your bed so that when you get up in the morning, you're going to put on those shoes that you go walking in or whatever it is. It's a cue that reminds you, and that creates your routine. So the routine, after the cue, you do a certain thing. So let's say that your goal is you want to move more. I know Liz said that. She wanted to create more movement into her life for this challenge. So if that was your desire, then you need to set that routine. That every time, you wake up, you put those shoes on, you eat breakfast, and then you go for your walk. And the reward is, there's lots of different rewards. Some people have like intrinsic rewards, like, oh, I feel so refreshed after I take my walk. I have more energy. I have time with my spouse or my dog, or you know what I mean? Like there's some intrinsic rewards, but you can also set up rewards that are extrinsic, like after I do so many walks, then I get a new pair of earrings, or, there's lots of different ways that you can set it up.
Yeah, so we didn't mention one thing about this picture. All of these, the cue, routine, reward, these are rocks. This comes from Dr. A's Habits of Health, the parable of the mason jar, where if you've got big rocks, smaller pebbles, you got sand, and you got water. If you put the sand in first or the water in first, you can't put the big rocks in, right? You have to establish those big rocks in your life. So to set up a cue, it's like Amber said, it's setting up something physical in nature, setting your shoes out, setting an alarm on your phone to remind you that, hey, this is going to start me or remind me of my routine.
Having the charts.
My routine. So a lot of us, we're like, oh, well, I'm going to do that if everything works out.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes you might have a bunch of kids. You have to establish with your family that, and sometimes creating these new habits is about changing the meaning that we give things. So one thing, I sat next to a gentleman on a plane a few years ago. He didn't do our program, but he told me about the transformation that he had in his health. First of all, I'd never want to sit next to this guy again on any plane, especially coach, because he was like 6'7" and like 250 pounds of absolute muscle. He took up most of my seat, and I was like leaning over on Amber and stuff, and he wasn't even overweight. But he had been almost 400 pounds. And his son was getting bigger. When I talked to him, his son was 16 years old. But a few years previous, he said that his son came home and was talking to him about natural disasters, of all things. And I'm like, oh, so how did that change your life? And he said, well, Dad, we were talking about natural disasters at school, and they were telling us that like there could be a really bad earthquake and you might not be able to drive your car. You might have to be able to walk someplace. And he's like, what would happen if we had to walk someplace, Dad? You can't even like, they were from Southern California. He's like, you can't even walk around Disneyland for a day. So he's like, whoa, I need to get healthier for my kids. And then his son asked him a question. He's like, Dad, what would happen if I was injured? Or his little sister was injured? Like, how could we get anywhere? And so he set a goal in his mind. He said, I've got to get really healthy and I've got to be strong enough. I'm not saying that this needs to be a goal of yours. For him, he wanted to be strong enough to carry his kids to safety. So he established that, and he's like, you know what? There were so many days after that I did not want to go to the gym. But I changed that meaning, whereas before he said, I would have very much made an excuse and said, well, I'm spending time with my kids today. And he said, no, this is just as important. I have to get healthy for my children so that if something happens, and he's like, the craziest thing happened. The more I stuck to my goals, the better I became as a parent, the better I became as a father. My kids started to look up to me. And they're like, whoa, and he's like, it was because of that my son decided that he wanted to be a collegiate baseball player. And he started to work with his son. And he's like, before that, my kid had no discipline. But after that, he's like, he just followed my example of discipline.
Yeah. How many times does our reason for something end up becoming our excuse? Such a powerful story. Okay, let's keep going. So step 3, this is the micro habit installation. This is the part I love, you guys, because it's so simple that anyone can do it. And if you haven't downloaded your chart yet, make sure you download your chart for the 66-day challenge. And we'll put that in the chat in a little bit if you need it. But this is the micro habit installation. So there is 2 parts to this, okay? Here, I'm going to get my I'm going to draw, okay? There is a micro habit and there is the plus, okay? This is where people go wrong, okay? People mess this up with New Year's resolutions. This is like, you don't listen to anything else that we have talked about, listen to this, okay?
Most people are like, I'm going to run 5 miles every day.
Yes. I'm going to go to the gym for 45 minutes, 5 days a week.
They're not even making it to February.
No, that's like January 14th, max. Max. Okay, so this is the magic part, the micro habit and the plus. So you have to break down those secondary choices, those action steps. You have to break it down to the lowest common denominator. Okay, so let's get some examples here so that everybody is crystal clear on this. So a micro habit is something that you can do even when you have the flu. Okay. It is something you can do even when you have the flu. Can you go to the gym for 45 minutes when you have the flu? I can't. Like, no way. There's no way that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So if your big vision goal is, getting healthy and your secondary choice you're focusing on is working out, then your micro habit needs to be something like doing 2 push-ups, doing 5 sit-ups.
I would say this, that
walk to your mailbox and back.
yeah, it's something that you can do in less than 1 minute.
Yeah.
The purpose of the micro habit is to build confidence. Build confidence in a new identity.
Put on your running shoes.
Yeah, I am a healthy person who puts on my running shoes every single day.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if I'm running or not.
That's right. Okay, and we're not saying this just because we want to be wimpy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where the plus goal comes. The plus goal is something like 45 minutes of working out at the gym.
A plus goal in the beginning, instead of 2 push-ups, could be 10 push-ups or 5 sets of 2 push-ups.
Yep.
We have a coach on our team that before Christmas was telling me something that was really cool. His micro habit for the 60-60 challenge that was just finishing was just to drive to the gym.
I like that.
And he's like, something miraculous happened. Like this is an ex-collegiate basketball player. And it was so cool what he said to me was, he's like, you know what I found, Jared? He's like, I discovered that I love the sound of weights clinking against each other. And he's like, and I know this is really gross, Jared, but I love the smell of the gym. I'm like, whoa, that's gross. Because I don't love the smell of the gym, but I love to exercise.
Yes. Okay, so you want to do your micro habit every single day. What about on Sunday? Yeah. You could probably put your shoes on Sunday, no matter your religious beliefs. You want to, that is your goal, is to do it every single day. And any day that you can, you do your plus goal. Okay, we're not just trying to be wimpy and only do our micro habit every single day. We want to strive to do our plus goal. But the goal is this: consistency. Consistency is our goal so that we are creating a habit, micro habit installation. Okay, did we have lots of fun drawing all over the screen? I did.
So consistency, repetitions creates confidence.
Yes.
Stephen Covey Jr. Wrote a book called The Speed of Trust. And he said that the most important element of trust is self-trust.
Yes.
We have to trust ourselves before we can trust others or before others can trust us. He gave an example of, he was working on a project back in the Franklin Covey days where he was working with a team overseas in Asia. So most of his work on this project was being done in the middle of the night here in America. But it was around New Year's and he had set a goal to go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. He didn't do it once for the first couple of weeks of January. And he's like, I felt like such a loser.
Yeah,
he's
catastrophizing.
Like, yeah, he's like, he had no confidence in his ability to trust himself. He said, so what he did was he renegotiated with himself. He's like, wait a minute, I don't work during the day right now. I'm doing all my work at night. So I can go to bed and sleep a little bit later in the morning. And he's like, noon would probably be a great time to go to the gym. So he started going to the gym every day at noon. And after a couple of months of doing it, and his goal was 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at noon. He did it for a couple months straight. And he's like, all of a sudden I noticed that I had all this confidence that I could stick to my game plans. So you have to understand what's going on in your life and be able to set those goals and those habits around what is doable. And so set your micro habit and then always be looking for those opportunities to do the +1.
Yes. And step 4, connect your present action to immediate and long-term rewards. So if because your present self, it wants immediate gratification. This is how we are wired. Our brains say, I don't want to wait to save money for a house. I want new shoes now. It says, I don't want to wait to be healthy later, and I want ice cream now. And this is how our brain is designed to keep us alive. We have our limbic system that tells us to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and that's why we don't want to go to the gym and work out or do these things that really help us long term. So what we need to do is connect that present action, connect the micro habit and the +1 in our brains, maybe with a vision board, maybe verbally we're telling someone, okay, I got my shoes on, look at me, getting healthy, like I'm a healthy person. We need to connect that with our future self and what we are striving for.
Yeah, so the instant reward for me now, after a decade of living a healthier lifestyle, and this is just an example long term. 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. But now, my instant reward when eating something healthy or exercising is, wow, I'm really proud of myself. And I really trust myself because I made another great decision.
Yep.
That supports my long-term investment. So I'll give you an example of today. My 16-year-old is, our 16-year-old is a very good volleyball player. And he's a sophomore in high school, and he's got a recruiting coach, and he wants to play college volleyball. And his fall season just ended, and his spring season starts in about 2 months. And he said, Dad, I need to do some plyometrics and jump training and stuff. And I know that you don't really want to do that during season because your legs get burnt out. So I got 2 months right now to hit it super hard. And I exercise 6 days a week. I'm in fairly good shape, but I'm not in that kind of shape to do that kind of stuff. So I knew that today's workout with my son was going to hurt me. And right now, I might need some crutches or something to move around the house tonight because my legs are kind of jelly. But we did a half an hour intense jump training workout tonight, and I was exhausted, and I was out of breath the entire 30 minutes. But afterwards, both of us sat and talked, and we were like, man, that sucked. But the instant gratification was that, hey, we did it. We finished what we said we were going to do. But we also talked about the long-term goal that in 6 to 8 weeks, his legs are going to be better conditioned for his spring season. And even a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, when he'll be better suited to play competitive volleyball.
I love that. So just to kind of wrap up, we just love that you guys have been on. And some of you are clients of our program, and others are coaches, and others are just friends and family and people who want to be part of something. And I love just really our mission statement for Optavia. We are for growing. We are for a growing community of people who are ready to take personal responsibility for their optimal well-being in life. And you being part of this challenge or wrapping up the one we just did, that is you saying, I want to take personal responsibility for my optimal well-being in life. And there's so many different areas to, I think it was Elisa who said it earlier, your healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. So, okay, let's get to our winners from our previous 66-day challenge. We have 3 winners, and there may be some more coming. So, first, Danae Jameson, Gary Tremelling, and Joe Sellier. You guys are our $50 winners, so I'll be contacting you to get you your prize. So we're going to have some more winners at the end of this 66-day challenge. So officially, you can start when you'd like, but officially, we'd like people to start by January 13th. So because we'll be wrapping up in March. So 66 days from that is March 18th. So we'll be doing a wrap-up webinar. So you're going to want to start by next Monday. Get your PDF printout so you can track you do a check if you do the basic micro habit, and you do a check plus or just a plus if you did your real goal. So next steps, connect with the coach who invited you. And like I said, if you're invited by just a client or you're a family friend, you're not sure who your coach would be, just ask me, I'll tell you. I can probably connect. I'm a good investigator. Print your PDF. So here's the link. It's a bit.ly link /66day, and that is your PDF. It's completely free to do this challenge. You don't have to put in money, or I mean, you can send me money if you want. I'm open for receiving money.
We're not going to keep it. We're just going to give it away.
We will definitely give it away. Make sure you're registered. So this is the registration link right there. Oops, sorry, I went back too far. And then write down the next webinar is going to be February 3rd. That's the first Monday of February, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain, same time we did this one. And then the third webinar is going to be the first Monday of March, Monday, March 2nd, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain. So we want to help you guys be successful here. And the best success, I promise you, that you are going to find is jumping with both feet in to not just the habit here, but talking to the coach who invited you, doing a health assessment, having that extra accountability of a coach, seeing what we can do as your Optavia coach to help you move forward with the goals that you have, whether it's meditation, whether it's sleep or eating or exercise or saving money for your down payment on your house in Orlando, whatever it may be. We want to help you to achieve those goals. And the last thing that I want to tell you guys about is we're having some in-person events coming up all around the country. And I will send those out in an email.
We have several in Utah, Oregon, Las Vegas, Dallas,
Colorado.
Texas, Colorado. There's some others too. So
Idaho.
yeah, we'll send those out so that if you're within an hour, a couple hours of those events, really, really powerful Saturday events. They'll be roughly 9 to 4 o'clock. And the conferences are called Modify Your Mindset. And it's all about developing a mindset around creating health and wellness in all areas of your life.
Yeah, so join us for that. The first one's going to be this Saturday, January 11th in Draper, Utah. So if you are anywhere near that, then you're going to want to join us 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we're going to be providing a lean and green lunch. And this is all about mindset. So this isn't about like, we're going to teach you how to drink water and exercise. Like, that's not what we're doing here. We're going to teach you how to really get your mind calibrated so that you can achieve these goals best of your ability. So we'll send out some emails with, if you're registered, then you'll get the email with information on where you can get an event near you. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. Congratulations to the winners, Danae Jameson, Gary Tremelling, Joe Sellier from the last challenge, and we will be doing some more winners for this one. So thanks so much, you guys. You guys are awesome. Happy New Year.